All right, y'all. We are live on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. God bless everybody in the name of Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah. I pray you are blessed in many ways, as this is the most important FOMC in history from the perspective of Jerome Powell. This is Jerome Powell's last stand. This is Jerome Powell's last night. This is our last night with Jerome Powell. Guys, I hate change, and it is sad to see my good friend Jerome Powell fade away into the darkness, as today we are awaiting for the FOMC statement and the federal funds rate and the FOMC press conference. It's a conference where people will press the different buttons that cause the money printing to go up and to go down, the tightening and the loosening of the economy. As we can see here, we are expecting zero. We're expecting nothing to happen, guys. Nothing to happen. We are expecting interest rates to stay the exact same, 3.75 beats per second. Inflation percent. Remember, this isn't financial advice. I'm just the guy on the internet on a treadmill in a dirty garage trading Bitcoin and crypto. Now, here's the thing, guys. All right. I do not think that we are going to... Let me preface this all by saying the following. I am not interested in this press conference and this rate decision because I don't think it's going to make Bitcoin do something. I'm excited because when we get the announcement, it always injects some volatility into the market. And this volatility very well may give us a juicy trade setup. And I'm looking to put hundreds of thousands of dollars onto the market during FOMC. In fact, why not? Why not? Why not just throw money around during one of the most volatile portions of price action in all of history? All right, we're going to be taking a look here. We're going to be seeing what's going to happen as the Bitcoin price is coming down to a pretty interesting area of support. You can see the Fibonacci golden pocket. In fact, yesterday, we got a nice bounce from the Fibonacci golden pocket right here. We got to move up to the POC of the range where we rejected, and now we've given it all back. All right, and if you're in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, yesterday we longed it right from the low. And of course, that's been closed out, guys. I made about $2,000. All right, locked in about $2,300, give or take, and then lost about $400. So a little bit under $2,000 we made in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, where we give the trade setups in the moment, guys, in the moment, as we were taking the trades, like seen here, like seen right here as well, where I told everyone I've longed it, and like seen here as well, where I took the juicy long trade, where we took the juicy short trade, which we are still in right now, up $10,475. All right. Big shout out to the sponsors of the channel, by the way. First of all, ANTARCTIC Decentralized Exchange, BLOFIN, KCEX, which, by the way, guys, KCEX is offering right now the juiciest deal on fees, plus up to $21,000 bonus. All right. Make sure to check it out if interested, as we are getting ready for the biggest FOMC of our lives. We have to give a big old major shout to everybody right now in the chat. First of all, a big old major shout to Libad. God bless you. Major shout to Crypto Coons, holding it down with the wrench. Crypto Coons, the best YouTube and Discord moderator in the world. Big shout out to Max Longs. It's just going to down, 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 then down again. Big shout out to Moonshine. What if the new guy steps in and lowers it after all? Interesting stuff. Shout to Bullish on Parade. What's going on, my man? Big shout out to Adam Thomas 1348. And Preparing for War. Good riddance, Powell. We're going to have a powwow in honor of Powell today. Shout out to Adventurous Strangler. I'd love to see him say F you Trump and mic drop at the end. Yeah, actually, that would be really funny if that actually happened. I wish it would, but it won't. Shout out to Prime Vibs 3. Shout out to Juan Estrada PCL. Shout out to ESKR, Finger Red #1. What's going on, bro? Shout out to Starfire Crypto, Sup Casper Crew. Shout out to JW Spiker. Anyone's thoughts on gold futures? We're going to be taking a look at gold during the rate decision as well as the press conference. We're looking at stocks. We're going to be looking at the stock market. We're going to be looking at gold. We're going to be looking at silver. We're going to be looking at crypto. Rates will stay the same. Yes, they will. They will. They will. But we're still going to get an injection of volatility. Volatility. Bro didn't reduce rates because he can't trade. LOL. I mean, I think we're just in a season of paused rates. I think they will come down eventually. Shout out to Danny. He says, "Yo, Jason, my cubano hermano. Si, senor." Shout out to Angel Garcia. Pump song incoming. I hope so. Shout out to Ricky3641 and Spicy Noodle. What is going on with oil? I mean, don't pop your boil with oil. It could get infected. Let's check out oil. Looks like oil is getting a little bit of a move up right now. Would you look at this? We're about 107 on oil futures here. Yeah, it looks like it's getting a move to the upside. Maybe this is a giant bull flag that's about to break out. I mean, honestly, if oil does break out of this bull flag, guys, that's going to mean some... I mean, it's already pretty bad in parts of Eastern and Western Europe. I mean, in America, it's really not that bad with the oil prices. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, okay? Let's turn it off log. Let's not go crazy here. Let's not go crazy. Let's just see, like, if this is a bull flag that breaks out, man, we could be seeing, like... Can you even imagine that? That would be crazy. That would be unprecedented. That would be something that would... Oh, man. You know, we haven't seen... Have we ever seen oil that high? I mean, back in the 2008, we were at 147. Yeah, I remember this, man. I was in high school when this happened. I just got my driver's license, and gas was like $5.50 a gallon. I remember I'll go to the gas station with like $3, you know, filling it up with $3. You know, back in those days, those were desperate times, man. You know, those were desperate times. That's all you had was $3, you know? Going scraping under the couch cushions to try and find some money. I mean, we could come back up toward that area if this bull flag breaks out. And honestly, you know, I don't mean to be that guy, but, you know, what if this is a bull flag too, right? Can you imagine that? You know? Just thought experiments here, guys. Just thought experiments here. Like, nothing too serious. Nothing too serious. Not saying we're going to see gas at, oil at $200 a barrel, but, I mean, here's the thing, like, there's some messed up people out there that really want to cause an energy crisis. You know, the Great Reset is still on the agenda, guys. You know? So we got to get our carbon emissions down to zero, and what better way than to make it just unaffordable, right? But anyway, we're not going to wax conspiratorial during this video. The price in Europe is fine. I don't know. I have a friend in Bulgaria who things are very expensive right now. So I don't know. I can only go based on personal accounts. I have not honestly listened to the news about any of this stuff, to be honest with you. So if you have an eyewitness testimony, send it my way. Because that's honestly the only thing I care about is people in the area telling me stuff. All right? Yeah, I've heard stuff like this too about the explosions. Look, I don't know what's true. I don't know. All I know is, honestly, right now, as far as I'm concerned, as far as my little bubble's going, things are just heading on as normal. All right? Let's see. You are from Bulgaria. Shout out to all my Bulgarians in the house. Shout out to Harry H. Haza. How much does TA apply to the price of oil? Well, I will be honest with you and tell you blatantly that I have not ever traded oil. All right? So I cannot answer that question for you. All right? I cannot answer that question for you. Crypto Coon says gas is $4.30 in Ohio. All right. All right. All right. Well, let's see what happens here with the Bitcoin price. Now, again, speaking of Bitcoin and speaking of in 15 minutes, Jerome Powell will make a decision. We need to be aware of this with the Bitcoin chart, okay? Right now, we are, in fact, breaking out of a major support resistance flip A major resistance, we go to our weekly chart on Bitcoin, and the major resistance that we are currently breaking out of, guys, is going to be this trend line right here. Pull it from the tippity. You can see that we are pretty much confirming multiple weekly candles above this level. All right, this is a major breakout. If we put it on log scale, it changes a little bit. All right, we'll put it on log scale real quick. Now look at this. I just want to point out the fact that not only are we breaking out of this massive trend line to the downside, but we are also breaking out of the value area high of this range at around $73.5 thousand. As it stands right now, if we are going to see higher prices, which a lot of people are calling for, well, if we're going to dump a little bit, this is the area that needs to hold, all right? Because this is going to show for certain that the market does not consider this expensive Bitcoin anymore, but the market considers this cheap Bitcoin. If we come down to the $73,000 zone and see a fast buyback, this is a very bullish back test of a massive multi-month resistance, right? So we are breaking out and back testing two major resistances at the same time if this happens. However, if we cannot hold above the level, all right, if we just can't hold it, well, guess what? Then that is very bearish. It's a massive fake out, and I expect us to drop down probably towards the bottom of the range, towards $60,000. So this is a very key area. And again, I am not the one saying that I'm hoping that Jerome Powell's decision pumps Bitcoin. I'm not expecting a rate cut. I'm not expecting a rate hike. What I am expecting is short-term volatility, which will culminate in the trend decision, right? I'm hoping this acts as a catalyst for the rest of the week to either give us our big drop down toward this area, to either look for the bounce or look for the rejection, or maybe we do just get a bounce up today and start to come up to higher prices, right? So in general, right now, I am looking for Bitcoin to come back towards $80,000 because I do not feel like we finished this move to the upside. It does not look done. An ugly double top, didn't even take the highs on all exchanges. Or I'm looking for Bitcoin to eventually maybe come down to 75K, maybe come down to around 72, 73K to look for a bounce. All right, and I'm hoping that what happens today will facilitate the move. All right, big shout out to Akka Media. Sir, Bitcoin bullish, or shall I quit my position as I'm in position with bullish? Well, I'm in a position with bullish too, man. All right, and I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting my bullish position. All right. My bullish position is currently up right now, $43,000 unrealized, $26,000 realized. All right. So essentially, I mean, we're around 70K altogether. And I am like I just showed on the chart, unless we lose this purple box, I'm keeping it open. And I'm in a bullish position, looking for more bullish. Yes, we're breaking down from the trend line here, all right? I'm not going to say that this is the most bullish thing in the world, the fact that we're breaking down from this baby, all right? But, again, remember, the breakout and backtest of the support resistance flip at around 72, 73, that is the line in the sand. And yes, this is looking scary right now. I'm not going to lie. You know, this is looking scary. But sometimes you just got to lock it in and let it ride. Lock it in and let it ride. All right? You got to lock it in and let it ride. You know? Lock it in and let it ride, you know? Lock it in and let it ride. You guys know what I'm saying? Yeah. Lock it in and let it ride. Know what I'm saying? You gotta lock it in and let it ride. Don't be playing. Lock it in and let it ride. I could see you out there looking sly. Lock it in and let it ride like you're on the water slide. Don't try and hide, cause you know you're looking sly. Get a piece of pie, cause by the time you get back to the charts, we will start to fly to the upside, baby. Bitcoin gonna pump. Jerome Powell got fired by Trump. His term is over. Now we got the new guy coming in, cutting us a slice of the pie, American pie. You know we like to eat it. High carbohydrates go straight to the feet, and you're up here, you're on the treadmill, you're going uphill, my dear. Let's get Bill. We got the bill in the house about to pass. We're up 10K, you know we got the gas. We got a fart from behind, here comes. Can you smell the slime? Jerome Powell coming out. Had a smile, but now it is a pout. Cause the candles turning blue and then they turning purple. Jason Casper's such a nerd, they call him Steve Urkel. Bitcoin about to rocket, tippy top it, then we about to fly up right to the next golden pocket. We out here fighting bad guys like Sonic vs. Robotnik. We're coming right bound to support, can you spot it? If we pull the fib from the low to the high, you could see if we bounce, price is about to fly. We came here to the golden pocket, come up, reject it, can you spot it? Then we drop it. We got the 786. Market makers trying to liquidate, they licking their lips. Cause they know the retail about to short the bottom, about to absorb all the shorts. Can you even spot them? Pump it up, make a nice triple top. Market makers coming in to hit the spot, then we dump it back down. Can you hear the sound? Long trades liquidated right into the ground. Boom! You know? That's what I'm talking about. Wow, look at this chart. It's a little bit messy. If you walk it in and let it ride, in my case, walk away and check the maple trees for sap. Yeah. Your value area high is at 72K. Yeah, it depends on what exchange you're on, my friend. It depends on what exchange you're on. All right? So, right now on Antarctic, it's around 72. On YUBIT, it's around 73.5. All right. We got a lot of different things to happen, guys. 10 minutes until Jerome Powell is going to be coming out. All right. Now, is this a bottom here? Honestly, I hope not. I do hope we get a dump upon the release of this news. You know what I'm saying? Mike Miko. Am I on the farm again? Shout out to Mike Miko. Shout out to MEXC. I'm always on the farm. You know? Can we have more trading and less hippity hoppity? No. No. No, we can't. No, we can't. The hippity hoppity, that's what keeps us going all day and all night, baby. All right. Yeah, about 1,000 people watching and only 4 likes. What the heck? What the actual? What the actual? You know? Yeah, I hope we get a dump and pump upon... here's what I really hope happens, guys. I hope we get a dump, and then we get a pump, and then we either get a dump or flip into support and pump. All right? So, let's see what happens. I'm going to try and see if I can trade this juicy. Let's see what happens in 8 minutes, guys. 8 minutes. I got butterflies in me a stomacho. All right. Whew. 7 minutes and 6 minutes and 59. Smash up the likes, guys. Smash them up. All right. Big shout out to the Casper crew. All right. The best trading community in the world, where myself and 3 other instructors are live trading multiple times a day, telling you what we're doing, giving our setups, telling you when we're going in, all that stuff. Telling you when we're taking profit and all that stuff. All right. Best dang trading community in the world is $2 a day at jasoncaspertrading.com. All right. Big shout out to ANTARCTIC, BLOFIN, KCEX, and YUBIT. Also got to give a major shout out to Klein funding. They've got their juicy, they got their juicy 15% discounts in the description on these funded accounts, crypto Propfirm. They got 15% discounts on all this stuff. Check it out if you're interested, all right? All right, here we go. 7 minutes, not even that. The countdown, it's the final countdown. 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and 01. 6 minutes on the dot. 5 minutes and 57 seconds, guys. You guys feel that? Is it hot in here or is it just me? Is it hot in here or is it just me? Man, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. All right. Big shout out to Vegas Claw. Shout out to Eczema X, who says the community is honestly the best thing I did within crypto. Well, that's awesome. You know, that's awesome. That is awesome. Big shout out to Spicy Noodle. If we get news of the war ending, that will pump Bitcoin and dump oil. I feel it coming soon. That would be awesome. I hope so. What's my average position size? Anywhere between 200,000 and a million. Depends on my stop loss, man. Depends on my stop loss. You know, how much am I risking per trade? On average, around $5,000 or $6,000. Around 5 or 6K. That's my average. All right. Yeah, look, Jack B comes for the hippity hoppity. All right. Paradigm Miner is going long. Let's see what happens here, man. We got 5 minutes. 5 minutos. Let's put on Market Cipher B here. Man, oh man. I mean, money flow's coming down on the 1 hour. Money flow's coming up on the 24 minute. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, honestly. Let's see what happens. Man, we got 4 minutes left. We got 4 minutes left. Oof, the 12-minute looking super suspicious. Doesn't want to do the dishes. You can always tell when she's looking suspicious when she doesn't want to do the dishes. We're going to be eating from paper plates for months, guys. 12-minute looking suspicious. No doing the dishes. The 24-minute looking pretty nice. The 6-minute. I mean, honestly, the spinach looks like she's doing the dishes. She has mad riches on the 6-minute. This is crazy. I don't even know what I'm saying. We got about 3 minutes and 43 seconds left on the clock before an in-spike of volatility comes. I can't even take the suspense. It's killing me. My last time to see Jerome Powell ever in my life. Very sad thing for me. I love Jerome Powell. You guys know he's one of my favorite people in the world. Good old Jerome Powell. Good old JP. What? 2:30 now? No way. No way. Nah. Hang on. You guys are trolling me. Y'all are trolls. Let's see this. Nah. Y'all are trolling. You're trolling your boy Jason Casper. Let's see what happens. Oh, wait. It's at 2:30? Wait a second. The press conference is at 2:30? Yeah, the press conference is at 2:30, guys. But the statement is at 2 o'clock in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Come on, guys. Get with the dang program. How many FOMCs have we been through? How many FOMCs have we been through? Path me 75. Come on, path me. Big shout out to Jesse Gillick. How did I know you were doing dishes? Cuz, bro, I just know. I always do the dishes when I listen to people, when people talk about crypto. Come on, guys. How many dang press conferences and FOMCs have we been through? You know, this is our last one. This is your last chance to get it right. The statement's at 2. The press conference is at 2:30. Where he comes out, people ask him questions, and he says, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see, he says. They ask, how's inflation? He's like, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, you know. We'll have to wait and see, right? Good old Jerome Powell. In fact, I love the way Jerome Powell answers all those questions the same way I do as a crypto YouTuber. Is Bitcoin going to pump or dump? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see. Here we go. 2 minutes, baby. Whoo! I'm feeling it. I'm feeling something. I'm feeling something here. It is the final countdown. Am I longing? Not yet. I'm not longing yet. We gotta wait. We got 1 minute here. We got 30 seconds. All right, let's see what happens. All right, here we go. Got our first move to the upside. Oh my goodness, big, massive, juicy blue. Big, massive, juicy blue coming on in, baby. Oh my goodness, we're pumping. Now we're dumping. All right, let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. All right, no change, just as expected. Just as expected. All right, so we're probably going to make our way back down towards the lows, in my opinion. Let's see. I think we're going to make our way back down toward the low. Let's see if we can't do it. Let's see if we can't do it, baby. All right. We got a little bit of a pump. All right. We got a little bit of a pump here. A little bit of a pump. All right. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. We got a little bit of a pump here. All right. A little bit rainy out today, guys. It is a little bit rainy out today. All right. So we're starting to get a little bit of a move back down. All right. We're up 10 grand on the short trade. We're getting that move back down. Let's see if we can't come all the way down to 75.6. All right. 75.6. That's what we're waiting for. Felipe says we're going to zero. I don't know if we're going to zero. No. Come on, PathMy. Listen, I don't know how else to say it, PathMy. There's two events here, okay, bro? First of all, the federal funds rate officially comes out at 2 o'clock. It's already out, okay? They've already made the decision not to cut rates. It's official now. Now, in half an hour, at 2:30, that's the press conference. Then he's going to talk about why they didn't cut rates, all right? He's going to say a whole bunch of nothing. And then a whole bunch of people are going to ask him a whole bunch of nothing. He's going to say, we'll have to wait and see, we'll have to wait and see, we'll have to wait and see, we'll have to wait and see. Then Twitter and all these other people are going to latch on to a few things he says, and the internet's going to get their Jerome Powell analysis on point, all right? Then the internet's going to tell us whether he was hawkish or dovish. And that is what all these things together in the right order is what we're waiting for, man. All right, there's a lot of stuff to wait for here, all right? Hold your horses, PathMy. Hold your horses, my friend. We got to hold your horses, PathMy. PathMy. Don't front run the press conference, my man. Got to give a big shout out to PathMy. God bless you, PathMy. Yeah. Did I short? No, I haven't taken any trades here. All right. My initial thoughts before I even did this stream is I'm going to counter trade the first move, but I forgot to do it. So I didn't short that, but I am looking to come down toward this area around here. Hopefully we don't get malaria from the area. All right, we'll see what we can get from here, all right? We'll see what we can get from here. Let's check out the 1 minute. Let's see what we can get from here. Now, I'm still in this juicy short trade, up $10,300 from the trade setup we gave in the moment in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. So I'm not in any rush to take a trade, right? I kind of want to wait for a good setup here. So let's see what we can get. All right, let's see what we can get. It's raining outside. I'm a little bit wet, but let's see what we can get. Are you kidding me? No way. Trump is meeting with the Artemis astronauts right now at the White House during the press conference? That's crazy, man. That is crazy. All right, let's go down to the 1 minute time frame here. All right, I think we're coming down, guys. I think we're coming down. All right. How's ETH looking? You sold all of it? All of it? I mean, it's looking the same as Bitcoin, guys, honestly. It's looking the same as Bitcoin. You know? We will get malaria from the area, says Max Longs. I can't believe that. You dare me to speak as an auctioneer? I've done it before. Especially during FOMC, I've done it. Yeah. But, for some reason, guys, just not feeling it right now. But we are going to go for the low, it looks like. Have I heard or noticed the rise in ticks and the rumors about ticks with a star on it to get you sick and unable to eat red meat? I'm pretty sure that's just official now that Lyme disease was engineered in a lab and got out, right? Isn't that like legit news now? But yeah, there's a really bad tick season this year. In fact, this year alone, I have had 3 ticks as opposed to previous years 0. So it's a bad year for ticks, which is strange since it was a very cold winter. So I'm not sure. But yeah, who knows? Shout out to my man, Buddha Man and Throbbing Ding Dong, who says, "This is your government. You are being rescued. Do not resist." 40% Bitcoin downtrend now starting. Let's get into it, Max Longs. But you eat limes every day. Are you safe? No, limes are very dangerous. Limes are super dangerous. Shout out to Jesse Gillick. He says, "Smash the likes, everyone. I'm watching y'all. Who didn't hit it already? God bless you, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat." What do I think about peptides? I think you shouldn't take them. All right, unless you're morbidly obese, about to die of being fat, or you have diabetes and you really need it, or if you're injured and you need it. But look, here's the thing. Everything in life has a give and take. All right? You feel good now, it's going to take from something else. All right? Don't become dependent on the pharmaceutical industrial complex. All right? The number one thing everyone should be focusing on when it comes to recovery and health and all this stuff is what God gave us. Food, sleep, sunshine, relationships. I mean, unless you have a medical condition that requires some kind of pharmaceutical intervention, I don't care. Yeah, I know it's just a whole bunch of amino acids or whatever. I'm sorry. It's not my thing. Not into it. All right. Let's see. We're taking the low. We've taken the low. Oh my. Oh my goodness. Holy macaroni and cheese. Quadruple cheese. Quadruple cheese. Mis amigos, quadruple cheese. Oh my. Oh my goodness. Oh my. This is insane. Quadruple cheese. Quadruple cheese. Look at this crazy candle. Oh my goodness. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. We're up $12,000 on the short. I can't believe it. 12,000. Oh. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh, man. This is insane. Wow. Can you guys believe such a thing? Oh, my goodness. All right, I'm going to long it. I'm sorry. I'm crazy. Let's see what happens. I've just taken a long dong ding dong. This is crazy. Jason Casper, what a fool. What an idiot. Didn't go to school. Oh my goodness. Come on, we got the blue candle of hope, baby. Oh, come on. Oh no, it's turning back to purple. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Come on, baby. What's going on? Ah. What's going on, itty bitty? Itty bitty. My goodness. Can you guys believe such a thing? Can you guys believe such a thing? Look at that. Look at that. If that's not a knife catch, guys, I don't know what is. Yeah, baby, we pumping. We pumping. Yeah. Here we go, man. That's crazy. Wow, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Oh, my goodness. Macaroni and cheese, baby. Woo! Macaroni and cheese. Here we go, baby. No. Relax, Jason, relax. Remember, when you get too crazy, just deep plunges into the face. Deep plunges into the face. Just relax, JC. What's the worst that could happen, man? What's the worst that could happen? You're right. What is the worst that could happen? Oh, man. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Let's pump it, baby. Come on. Come on. I think we can get a little bit more from this. I think we can get a little bit more. Let's see. Let's see. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. We're trying to bounce from the 786. Worth a shot. It's worth a shot. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Ah! Relax, Jason. Don't make them put you back in the institution, man. You're right. You're right. Why am I talking to myself? Crap. Okay, let's go. Let's see what happens here, man. Oh, man. This is the scariest thing I've ever done in my life, guys. Woo! Woo! Man, the adrenaline right now, guys, I can't even talk straight because woo, the adrenaline is so much. Honestly, the adrenaline is going crazy right now. You know, this is dangerous. Don't try this at home. This is not financial advice. This is not financial advice, guys. All right? This is definitely not financial advice, but I have to be honest when I look at the 24-minute market cipher B, I mean, we're at a support. We've got bullish divergences, the money flow curving from the purple into the blue. What's she going to do from the purple to the blue? What's she going to do, you know, from the purple to the blue? I'm freaking out. What's she gonna do? Hey yo, what she gonna do, man? Bitcoin from the purple to the blue. Now sit back, relax, I'ma take you to the school. Let me tell you what we do. Every day making profits, don't you know? Jay Casper, boy, is so cool. We came down to the support, the 786. All the shorts, they get worked, they short the bottom. But you can see if you can spot them. Bullish divergence, the butt cheeks don't stop them. We got the juicy on the left, so booty. Skinny on the right, just around the tushy. Man, and I don't even know, but we came to the 786 down below. Now we pumping up $700. So dang bullish, baby. Let me hear ya holla. Jay Casper, we mark it in at the exact bottom. Oh my goodness, what a knife catch. Can you top him? Now the candle's turning blue. The Bitcoin price about to show you what she gonna do. Coming out soon at a theater near you. Jerome Powell for the last time, it's true. Yeah, cause the boy ain't the chair. No more, too embarrassed in his underwear on the floor. We're coming back up now, don't be scared. Jason Capper coming in, the bears best beware. Oh no, another purple candle. Making me so nervous, I'm spoiling my sandals cause I'm pooping my pants and it's running down my legs straight to my sandals. And I can't catch a break eating eggs cause I love cholesterol. Jason Casper running naked down the hall. Hopefully he got a coffee, taking hauls, got the menthols in his throat. He wants it all. Oh my. We got the overalls. We're coming out like a nice overhaul. We're getting out like we want to scover, y'all. Strover like Grover from Sesame Street, man. You better hear it all. Look at this. Come back to fill the gap. Then we about to bounce up. Now what about that? Oh no, we coming down. About to lose money. About to get wrecked. Boy, this ain't funny. So stop laughing and stop trashing. You better shut your mouth and keep it capped in. If I get a loss, if I lose my money, hopefully I'll have to start running away. Too embarrassed to show my face on the web. Jay Casper, you know he likes to stay dreb. Got the dreads on my head looking red like I want to take it out on my good friend Ted. Oh no, we're coming back down, baby. Oh my goodness. We got a big dirty perp coming out trying to give you the herp. Big dirty perp to give you the herp. Oh man. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Let's see what happens. All right. Guys, let's see what happens here. All right. Let's go back to the BYBIT chart. Let's go to the 1 minute. Man, even the 1 minute looks nice here, man. I'm not going to lie. The 1 minute looking pretty nice. Cold as ice. 6 minute looking true. Candle's about to turn blue. Let's go to the 30-minute time frame. All right, guys, by the way, this ain't no financial advice. If you get wrecked because of me, remember, I'm rapping on a treadmill. All right. Man, I mean, we don't have, obviously, this is crazy. In one candle, we just come all the way down yonder. Come on, big juicy blue. Bitcoin price about to show you what she's gonna do. Come on. We're back up again with all our good friends. Check the order flow. Check the order flow. Yeah, let's check the order flow. Let's see what happened. Good call, my man. Good call, my man. Let's check the order flow. Here we go. Longs wrecked. A lot of shorts opened at the top, though. A lot of people shorted the top there. Let's squeeze them. You know what I mean? Let's squeeze the shorts. Let's squeeze those dang shorts, baby. Can I see who did it? Yeah, you can see who did it. If you zoom in, it shows you their names. It was Sato. Just kidding. I don't know. I don't know who did it, man. Who done did it? Who done did it? We're trying to get a move back up like the coffee in the cup. All right. Trying to get a move back up like the coffee in the cup. Let's see what happens here. Oof, man, this is some serious business. All right. Some serious business right here, guys. This ain't no joke. This ain't no joke. The 12-minute looking shady. All right, I'll be honest. The 24 minutes looking juicy as all get out. Real juicy. Mad juicy. I mean, this, look at this. And the 24-minute looking good. We get another green dot here. We're going straight to Saturn. All right. We got a 10-minute candle close above the value area low. We got 5 minutes left. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's not a 10-minute close. We got 1 minute left until a 10-minute close above the level. Potential bullish divergence, all base and no trouble. We got the 5-minute time frame, money flow coming up. Price action juicy like coffee in the cup, Jason. Jason Casper, why are you talking like that? Jason, you must be so stupid if you think Donald Trump can read your super chats. Jason Casper's such an NPC. You know, stuck up in the right-left paradigm. Super chatting Donald Trump. All right. Uh-oh. Preparing for war doesn't like the low. It's not what I like to hear, bro. We didn't take the low. What low are you talking about? Uh-oh. Preparing for war is not bullish. Freaking me out. Oh, this low. But we did hit the 4-hour order block value area low 786. You know, but we did hit the 4-hour level. Right? We did hit the 4-hour level. Man, preparing for war, you get me nervous, bro. I think I'm going to have to FOMO out. Preparing for war. I think I'm going to have to FOMO out, bro. It's freaking me out right now. Oh, my. It's looking awful. It's looking awful. Come on, Biddy. Look, guys, we got about 11 minutes until Jerome Powell comes out of the closet with his press conference. All right. Uh-oh, a bear flag. Oh, no. It's a bear flag. Oh, no. No. Look, you got to lose big in order to win small in this game, guys. Maybe that's not quite what they said, but look, if you want to win small, you got to lose big, baby. All right? Let's see what happens here. Oof. Man, we should have closed it for a $700 gain, huh? Man, we should have closed it. Man, we should have closed it. The regret, the fear, the anxiety, the regret, the fear, the anxiety, the regret, the fear, the anxiety right now. Why did I have to long the exact bottom? Why couldn't I have waited for confirmation to long 80K? My goodness. It's really freaking me out. Front ran the 786. Lol. We did on Antarctic, yeah. On Bybit, we tapped right into it, man. Bybit's the one I care about. I'm not trying to tap anyone's 786 unless it's Bybit's. Bybit's the only 786 I want to tap. Let me tell you. Those other exchanges, you start tapping their 786, you're going to get some kind of weird disease. All right? Bybit has that clean price action, let me tell you. All right? So don't all LOL over here on your shady, weird exchanges. All right? Bybit's clean, baby. You know? Here we go. We're starting to pump, baby. We're up $1,000. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Can you believe what I see? Can you see what I see? It's working. Man, this is what euphoria feels like, guys. This is what euphoria feels like. Here we go, baby. Yeah, we're dumping a little bit. I see it. I see it. I see it. All right, let's go to the 1 minute. What the heck is up with the chart? Don't tell me there's... Oh, okay, there we go. Teresa says the government controls everything, even Bitcoin. Time to wreck. Maybe the government controls Bitcoin. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? They can. Who cares? Who cares? We're here to make money, man. We're here to make money. All right. We're here to make money and then dip out. Dip out. For when they unveil the mark of the beast, then we're out, baby. In the meantime, we're just here to have a good time. Make a little bit of moolah. A little bit of moolah-la. Moolah-la. All right, maybe we lose all the moolah-la. Maybe we lose it all. Guys, we're back testing. No, we're not back testing nothing. Hang on. Let's remove this. I mean, look. It's a pretty nice level right there. Okay, we got 8 minutes until JP comes out. He's going to start talking. We're going to start seeing some action, baby. Get ready for action. All right? In T-10, we're getting ready for action. Once we get the 6-minute green dot, we're going to launch off into the stratosphere, straight through the thermosphere. Don't worry. I know what you're thinking. Our aircraft is made of tinfoil. There's no way it can withstand the heat of the thermosphere. Don't worry, guys. Anything's possible with AI nowadays. We can make it through. We're up $1,200. Oh. Pizza pie. Mamma mia. The pizza pie is pumping. Mamma mia. The pizza pie is a-pumping. As Jerome Powell is getting ready to come out, the pizza pie is a-pumping. All right. Yeah, the guy at the conference mining Bitcoin for 20 years, he's the real Satoshi for sure. I know, aren't you sad, Splash, that this is the last time that JP is going to speak? It is sad. It really is sad. I'm not going to lie. Let's see what we got going on here. Now, I didn't hear about him. I didn't hear about the guy, but you're in the Jordan Crypt crew. He's like you, Master Cypher B. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to all the YouTube channels out there doing this thing. All right? You're right. It's in special tinfoil, the kind that can protect your brain from the aliens. In that special tinfoil. Paradigm's up $15,000 in profit. My goodness, that's crazy. That's crazy. right, guys, we got 6 minutes until JP comes out. 6 minutes. All right. Big shout out to all the lifers in the house. Big shout out to Crypto Lifer. All right, let's see what happens here, guys. All right. This is a little speculative, baby. All right. But again, we came down to a support, the 786. The 4 hour even has bullish divergence potentially. The 1 hour has bullish divergence. The 24 minute bullish divergence. All right, the 12 minute looking kind of shady, not gonna lie. 12 minute, dancing on the line. Nonetheless, still there. The 6 minute is looking nice if we get the green dot. All right, we get the green dot. All right, the 3 minutes looking kind of nice. Let's see what we can get here. 4 minutes until JP comes out the house. The house will be open and he will come out the door. Sit back, relax while we mop the floor. Sit back, relax while we mop the floor. Yeah. JP speech summarize. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see on the data. We'll have to wait and see on the data. What about gold? Let's see what gold done did. All right, let's see what gold done did here. Gold took a big old dump. Wow. A little bit of a pump and now dumping back down. Nothing too crazy. Didn't take the low like Bitcoin took the low. And I do have to say, gold does not look ultra bullish on the 4 hour time frame here. We have slight divergence, but money flow looking weak. Check out the 1 hour on gold. Same deal, slight divergence, but weak money flow. All right. Let's check out the S&P 500 futures. Okay, so S&P 500 is also attempting right now to get a local swing failure pattern of the low here. Let's see what happens. All right. See what happens here. It's an attempt. All right, come on, Jerome Powell. Come on, Jerome. Come on, Jerome. We need you to pump it for us. We need you to pump it for us. Oof. Come on, Jerome. We need to pump. Man, it's not looking the best, is it, guys? Oh. 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 I should have known it was weak. Why did you long, Jason, you idiot? Crap. Oh my goodness, guys. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. All my hopes and dreams are gone. Lost forever. My only hope is in 2 minutes when Jerome Powell opens his mouth to flabbergast all the Flanagans. We need Jerome Powell to come flabbergast all the Flanagans. Let's see. Come on, JP. We need you to flabbergast the Flanagans. Come on, JP. Come flabbergast the Flanagans for us, my friend. All right. We need Jerome Powell to come flabbergast the Flanagans. We got 1 minute until the Flanagans get flabbergasted. Come on, JP. Whoa, 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 whoa. flabbergast my flan against Jerome Powell. Come flabbergast my flan against Jerome Powell. Come flabbergast my flan against Jerome Powell. It's his last day. Suspense. My goodness. Come flabbergast my flanagans. What is going on? He's out already. He's already gone. What is... Oh, here he comes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. The U.S. economy has been expanding at a solid pace. While job gains have remained low, the unemployment rate has been little changed in recent months. Inflation has moved up and is elevated, in part reflecting the recent increase in global energy prices. Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy rate unchanged. We see the current stance of monetary policy as appropriate to promote progress toward our maximum employment and 2% inflation goals. Developments in the Middle East are contributing to a high level of uncertainty about the economic outlook, and we will remain attentive to risks to both sides of our dual mandate. I'll have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Recent indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a solid pace. Consumer spending has been resilient, and business fixed investment has continued to expand at a brisk pace. In contrast, activity in the housing sector has remained weak. In the labor market, the unemployment rate was 4.3% in March and has changed little in recent months. Job gains have remained low. A good part of the slowing in the pace of the job growth over the past year reflects a decline in the growth of the labor force due to lower immigration and labor force participation, though labor demand has clearly softened as well. Other indicators, including job openings, layoffs, hiring, and nominal wage growth, generally show little change in recent months. Inflation has moved up recently and is elevated relative to our 2% longer-run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 3.5% over the 12 months ending in March, boosted by the significant rise in global oil prices that has resulted from the conflict in the Middle East. Excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 3.2% over the 12 months ending in March. This relatively high rate largely reflects the effects of tariffs on prices in the goods sector. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have risen this year, likely because of the substantial rise in oil prices. Most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 3.5 to 3.75%. The economic outlook remains highly uncertain, and the conflict in the Middle East has added to this uncertainty.
Whoa.
In the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation. Beyond that, the scope and duration of potential effects on the economy remain unclear, as does the future course of the conflict itself. We will continue to monitor the risks to both sides of our dual mandate. We are well positioned to determine the extent and timing of additional adjustments to our policy rate based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. Monetary policy is not on a preset course, and we will make our decisions on a meeting-by-meeting basis. This is my last press conference as chair, and I will close with a few thoughts. First, I want to congratulate Kevin Warsh on his advancement out of the Senate Banking Committee this morning. This is an important step forward, and I wish him well as that process continues. The Federal Reserve exists for one fundamental purpose: to foster the economic conditions in which American families and businesses can thrive. Stable prices, a strong job market, and a financial system that every decision we make, whether about interest rates or regulatory and supervisory matters or other issues, is made in service of that purpose. Our decisions reflect the collective judgment of the Board of Governors and the Federal Open Market Committee, colleagues who demonstrate analytical rigor, principled judgment, and a genuine commitment to the public interest. Our collaborative and deliberative process has long reflected a shared commitment to finding common ground in service to our mission. This institution is resilient, capable, and staffed by professionals of extraordinary talent and exceptional dedication. It has been a privilege to serve alongside so many great public servants at the Board of Governors and around the Federal Reserve System. The Fed's work is only as effective as the public's understanding of it, and you, the press, are essential to keeping the public informed about what we do and why. The people we serve benefit from your careful reporting. I welcomed the announcement last Friday by the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia that she had closed the criminal investigation. She also noted, however, that she would not hesitate to restart the investigation. Over the weekend, the Department of Justice provided assurances that they will not reopen the investigation unless there's a criminal referral from the Fed's Inspector General. And, absent such a referral, if they do appeal the recent court decision, they would not seek, as part of that appeal, to restart the investigation or send new subpoenas. I've said that I will not leave the board until this investigation is well and truly over with transparency and finality, and I stand by that. I'm encouraged by recent developments, and I'm watching the remaining steps in this process carefully. My decisions on these matters will continue to be guided entirely by what I believe is in the best interest of the institution and the people we serve. After my term as chair ends on May 15, I will continue to serve as a governor for a period of time to be determined. I plan to keep a low profile as a governor. There's only ever one chair of the Federal Reserve Board. When Kevin Warsh is confirmed and sworn in, he will be that chair. Once sworn in as board chair, his new colleagues will elect him to chair the FOMC as well. As I regularly point out from this podium, our success in delivering our goals matters for all Americans. I'm confident that the Fed will continue to do its work with objectivity, integrity, and a deep commitment to serve the American people. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate the kind words about the press. Often doesn't come from the podium in different places, but appreciate that. Can you talk about what is gone into your decision to remain on the board? What kind of criteria are you weighing, and how long might you stay? Thank you.
Sure. So, my concern is really about the series of legal attacks on the Fed, which threaten our ability to conduct monetary policy without considering political factors. And I want to note here, this has nothing whatever to do with verbal criticism by elected officials. I've never suggested that such verbal criticism is a problem, and neither has anyone else here. But these legal actions by the administration are unprecedented in our 113-year history, and there are ongoing threats of additional such actions. I worry that these attacks are battering the institution and putting at risk the thing that really matters to the public, which is the ability to conduct monetary policy without taking into consideration political factors. it is so important for our economy, for the people that we serve, that they can depend over time on a central bank that operates that way, free of political influence. It's part of the absolute foundation of this amazing economy that we have. It's just one of the many reasons why the U.S. economy is the envy of the world. That piece of institutional architecture separates successful countries from unsuccessful countries. It is extremely important, not for the people who work at the Fed at any given time, but for the people that we serve, that the Fed remain able to conduct monetary policy in a way that doesn't get pulled into politics, trying to help or hurt any particular politician or political party. It's critical for the people that we serve. In terms of when I would leave, I will leave when I think it's appropriate to do so. Was that all your questions, or was that?
Well, I just have a follow-up, which is, what would you say to the criticism that by remaining on the board, you're actually taking a political act and denying President Trump the majority of the board, which as president he would have if you left?
I don't see that at all. As I mentioned, I'm literally staying because of the actions that have been taken. I had long planned to be retiring, and the things that have happened in the last 3 months have I think, left me no choice but to stay until I see them through at least that long. In addition, I don't see how this will interfere. My intention is not to interfere. I was a governor for almost 6 years, and the tradition is at the Fed that governors who understand how difficult the role of chair is, and as a soon-to-be former chair, I do understand how hard it is to get consensus with 19 strong-minded people. You work with the chair. You try to be heard, but also collaborate with the chair and try to support the chair when you can. When you can't, you can't. And I think that's the attitude that people generally take, and that's the attitude that I'll take.
Nick.
Chair Powell, if I could ask about the inflation outlook. In March, you described the standard practice of looking through energy shocks as conditional on inflation expectations staying anchored. Since that meeting, there has been very little progress reopening key energy trade corridors. Can you help us understand how the inflation outlook has changed in the intermeeting period, beginning with the prospects for tariff pass-through resolving on the timeline that you had outlined in March, before getting to the energy shock that is now on top?
So, I would look at it this way. For a long time, we've been working on the hypothesis, really, that tariffs would lead to a one-time price increase and that would go away over time. In other words, that there would be no further change, so measured inflation wouldn't reflect that higher level going up more and more. And it's time for that to happen. We really do expect that to be happening in the next 2 quarters. So we'll be watching very carefully to see that what we've thought all along would happen. That's the kind of critical part of the forecast. We need to really see that. With energy, it's so hard to say. I mentioned, in sort of the textbook, you would look through an oil shock because they tend to be short-lived and they tend to revert, and monetary policy works with long and variable lags, so you wouldn't necessarily react right away. I think that is all the more true given that we're several years above 2% inflation and that we're already looking through the tariff shock. So I think we're going to be very cautious about that. But the question about looking through energy really is not in front of us right now. It hasn't even peaked yet. And I think we'd want to see the backside of that and progress on tariffs before we even thought about reducing rates.
So if I could follow up, the statement today preserves language that has taken on some meaning as it was socialized when the committee was actively lowering rates. Why is that easing bias still ripe, given how different the inflation outlook is now versus a meeting or two ago? And what more would have to happen for it to get evicted?
So that was, as you will recall, we had a discussion about that at the last meeting, and we talked about it in the press conference after the March meeting. We had the same today. We had quite a vigorous discussion about that very issue and the guidance, and is it still appropriate and that kind of thing. And I would say that the number of people on the committee who either could support that language changing to a more neutral stance so that a hike is as likely as a cut, that number has increased over the intermeeting period, and it's easy to see why. I mean, it's a good question, right? You see inflation has moved up over the interim a bit. Core inflation's 3.2 now, moving, albeit just a little bit, in the wrong direction. And we know that there will be, that there's headline inflation coming out of the Gulf, and we don't know how much that will be. We're going to need to see. So it makes all the sense in the world that people would look at that and we'd have a vigorous discussion about that. You saw that 3 people dissented over the language. I think all of those people agreed with the rate decision. So the majority of the committee did not want to do that, and I didn't think we needed to do it at this meeting. It really was just a question of why do we need to do that now? We have so much to learn. There's so much uncertainty about the path ahead. There doesn't need to be any rush to make that decision now, because what happens in the next 30, 60 days, even by the next meeting, could really change the picture around that language. So, it's a much closer thing on the committee than it was in March, and that makes all the sense in the world, it seems to me.
Claire.
So Claire Jones, Financial Times.
Oh my.
Just going back to this issue of
We've got the Brits asking questions today.
now got oil approaching $120 a barrel when it comes to the benchmark Brent crude. If it stays around those levels 6 weeks from now, what would be your best guess as to whether the easing bias will still be in the statement? Thank you.
I wouldn't want to guess. Well, first of all, we're going to have new leadership in all likelihood by then, and new leadership's going to have a very important role to play in that. So I won't be standing here at this podium to answer your question. So I don't know. As I mentioned, that's all I can really say is that we had a great discussion about that today. It's gotten to be a better question in the interim period. We had the discussion. A majority are still on the page of not feeling the need to move to that level, and that's where I am. I get it, though. At a certain point, you would move, and that conceivably could come as soon as the next meeting.
Thank you. Just to follow on, the new leadership also seem rather lukewarm on press conferences and on the dot plots. What would your advice to him be on these communication tools?
So I'm not going to give him any advice through you today here, but I think communications generally is. I think every incoming chair takes a look at communications, and it's a very healthy thing. I mean, communications it's very complex, and you can always be looking at new things, and if that happens, it feels like it's going to happen. That's a completely appropriate thing.
Neil.
Hi, Chair Powell, Neil Irwin with Axios. Can you tell us if you've been in touch with incoming Chairman Warsh? To what extent is this a normal transition process versus all the things swirling around, something unusual, and what can we expect when he takes that podium in a few weeks?
I haven't seen him since seeing him at a dinner in January where I congratulated him and had a nice chat with him. Haven't seen him. I don't know what a normal process is. The last process was with Janet Yellen, with whom I had worked for 6 years, and so it was. We were sitting down the hall from each other, so it was a very different thing. I think this is and will be a very normal, standard kind of a transition process. So that's what I expect. I have every reason to think it will be.
Quick follow-up: is the Supreme Court ruling on Governor Cook a factor in when you may leave as a governor?
I wasn't thinking of it as such, but no, not really. I mean, I'm thinking more of the other things I mentioned.
Chris.
Hi, thanks for taking our question. I wanted to ask a question about your tenure, and Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. During your tenure as chair, you often spoke about how disadvantaged Americans benefited from extended periods of low unemployment. In the new framework the Fed adopted in 2020, some economists say elevated the Fed's employment mandate. Are you worried that the pandemic inflation spike that followed will make future Fed chairs more reluctant to pursue a hot jobs market, and should they be?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, what we experienced in the teens, the mid-teens, was really low levels of unemployment for a long period of time and no reaction from inflation. And we all very much took notice of that. We also noticed that the biggest wage gains were going to people at the bottom end of the income spectrum. And we had many, many reports of, I mean, it felt like a fairly stable equilibrium, and a lot of benefits were flowing to people at the bottom end of the income spectrum, including companies were, setting up in people who were confined and like training them before they got out, and it was a very healthy sort of set of societal dynamics. So of course, I think anybody would love to get back to that. I don't think that anything that happened to create the global pandemic inflation was in any way related to overweighting the employment market. I mean, it was a global shock that happened essentially very, very similarly all over the world that had to do with closing, reopening, stimulus, and all that. And I mean, you could look at a graph of 10 big economies on the page and not know which was the U.S. and which was Germany, France, and things like that. So I don't think that insight was in any way responsible for the high inflation that we experienced. So, I mean, I think it's always been a balance. You've got to be strong on both of our dual mandates. And for example, now we don't feel that the labor market is at all a source of inflation, so we don't need to be worrying about that. It's been a long time since we have had to worry about that. Well, actually, during the pandemic recovery, the labor market was super overheated and tight, and that's when we had to worry about it, but not now.
And just on the other issue, do you need more assurance from the Justice Department before stepping down? Is that what you're waiting for, or what else?
I'm waiting, for the investigation to be well and truly over with finality and transparency, and I'm waiting for that, and I will leave when I think it's appropriate to do so.
Michael McKee.
Michael McKee from Bloomberg Television and Radio. I'd like to ask you if you could explain a little more or characterize a little more the discussion about the two-sided view and interest rates, because there were some members of the Open Market Committee who've been suggesting that we may need to raise interest rates even absent the war because inflation was not coming down fast enough. Is there any sense that interest rates might have to go up, or was this just a setup to sort of warn people that you're worried about the war impacts?
So nobody, the three dissenters and others who could have supported that, and others who were voters and non-voters who preferred it, they all supported the rate decision, right? So people are not saying we need to hike now. It's more a question of, don't we kind of feel that we should be neutral? And what are markets doing? People argue that this is consistent with markets are doing. And again, it's a very fair question, but these changes, it's a form of forward guidance, and you want to make them in a way that will be sustained and continue to make sense, and not something you need to take back, fairly quickly. So I think a group of us, including me, didn't feel like we needed to be in a hurry on that. That markets are not confused about our reaction function. We don't have a problem to solve on that. But the other side of the argument is a good argument too, as I mentioned. It's a perfectly good argument to be having, good discussion to be having. So, and it came out the way it came out.
Well, you've got three dissents in favor of two-sided warning. You've got yourself staying on the board. You've got the criticism that does come from elected officials, and you've got a lot of critics who have faulted the Fed for being too slow 2021 with inflation. Are you worried about Fed credibility under all of this? Is that one reason that you want to stay on?
Not driving my thinking now. I mean, monetary policy is going to get made by, 19 people. There's a lot of stability there. I mean, if you think about it, every new Fed chair has the same situation, which is you've got 18 colleagues on the FOMC, 11 of them vote during any year, and your job is to create consensus. It's to talk to them, understand them, be inside their thinking, and be able to pull them together and get consensus and move. And that's what every Fed chair has to do. And I think Kevin Warsh is actually quite well. He has the capabilities, skills to be very good at that, I would think. So I think I'm not so worried about that process. I think that'll work itself out.
Thank you, Chair Powell. Howard Schneider with Reuters. You mentioned that staying on as a governor, you intend to keep a low profile. I'm just wondering if you could give us a little more detail on what that looks like and how you can... Touche. Walk down the steps. What that looks like, and particularly around the policy discussion, how you're able to have your intervention and not be a shadow chair and not have a kind of an outsized influence over the process.
Yeah, that's just something I would never do, the shadow chair thing. No, I don't know what the exact specifics of it will be, but I'm going back to being a governor. I respect the role of chair. I was a chair. I was a governor for 6 years, and I know what that's like. I know, and I had a pretty front row seat particularly with Chair Yellen, to whom I was close when I worked with Chairman Bernanke for 2 years, but I was brand new at that time, so I got a sense of what it was, and I had real sympathy for how hard it is to get that group to consensus, and I always felt like I don't want to add to that unnecessarily, and that means try to support the chairs where the direction the chair wants to go in, if you can. If you can't, you can't. And I think that's the way it's always worked there, because the chair only has one vote, plus the ability to develop consensus. And if people won't be, they won't, if they're not flexible at all, then how do you ever do that? And so that's why the authority the chair has really is to develop relationships with people and work with them, and then put something forward that has consensus. And I propose to be a very constructive participant in that process, really out of respect for the office of the chair.
And in your view as a soon-to-be governor, how do you see the risks of oil prices bleeding into core inflation in coming weeks? Because it seems like the commentary that was coming from particularly some of the Reserve Bank presidents, they were elevated concerns about the bleed into core. And, here we are with 3 cents now. What do you see as the prospect of a core inflation?
Those prospects are real. Remember, though, and they're real, and the real thing is we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to need to see. And the good news is we think our policy stance is in a very good place for us to wait and see. We're right kind of at the high end of neutral or perhaps mildly restrictive. The labor market shows more and more signs of stability, whereas inflation is kind of misbehaving. And so maybe a little bit of restriction or the high end of neutral is just the right place to be. So we can wait here and see how things work out before we act. And we'll see how much how much does come through into core. You see it already in airfares, of course, but you may see it in many other places. We just don't know yet, and it's so unknowable, because how long will the strait be closed? You can develop any number of scenarios that you want, but we really won't know until we know. So fortunately, we're in a good place to wait and let things develop.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. You started holding post-meeting press conferences for every meeting as opposed to the ones with with SEPs. Can you talk about why you see that as a net positive?
So we always said, when we were doing quarterly press conferences, we always said we can move at any meeting, but we only ever moved at the quarterly SEP meetings where we had the press conference. So if you think about it, during the pandemic, we were moving like a lot at every meeting and sometimes between meetings, and doing that without a press conference, I think, would have been quite challenging. It's become the industry norm. It's the standard. I don't know whether that has to remain that way. I don't know. I mean, it's just something people have become used to, and I do think it's quite helpful to, I try to deliver a message on behalf of the committee rather than 18 other people going out and delivering their message, and it's going to be all over the place, because we do, thankfully, have widely disparate views.
Okay, thanks. The other thing I wanted to ask about was the communications review from last year. Could you describe the debate last year, what changes were considered, what you wanted, and what prevented action, any action on those changes?
So yeah, I'm not going to go into the real small specifics, but what we found very quickly was that making changes, making really large changes, for example, to the dot plot or the SEP, it didn't have, we couldn't come up with anything that had really broad support on the committee. And so we just moved on. We didn't really do as much on that as we might have. And I was never the world's biggest fan of the dot plot, but you can't beat something with nothing. And we've looked at a bunch of things, and it's something. Like I said, I think every new chair is going to look at our suite of communications, and think about what would be changes. We are the only major central bank that doesn't publish a forecast. And that's because we have a 19-person committee, and you try to do it. You try to do that at the board. That's hard. At the committee, that's hard. It's hard if you do it at the staff. So it works. I think our communications are fine, but looking at doing it in a different and better way is the most natural thing in the world.
Thank you. Colby Smith with the New York Times. If I could follow up on Mike's question about hikes, are we right to assume that the hawkish outcome for the Fed is still one in which the committee just extends the pause in rate cuts? And to what extent is there a growing sense within the committee that monetary policy really isn't just restrictive at all right now? The economy is holding up relatively well despite this major energy shock. The unemployment rate has ticked lower. Inflation was moving sideways even before the war and is now moving higher. So where is the committee at on that debate?
Where we're at is we think our policy rate is in a good place. If we need to hike, we will certainly signal that, and we will certainly do it. And if we need to cut, then, or if it's appropriate to cut, then we'll signal the opposite. I think because we feel like we're in a good place to move in either direction. Nobody's calling for a hike right now. So it really is going to depend on how things evolve, and that's really where it is. As I mentioned, much closer question this cycle on changing the guidance, but ultimately we didn't.
And as it relates to the war, at what point do you think the risk to growth will be larger than the risk to inflation as this conflict drags on?
You just have to find that out empirically. Given our the fact that we're a big exporter of energy, and that our economy is far less energy intensive, oil intensive than it was during the 70s, the effects on the United States are really substantially less than those of Western Europe or Asia, who are feeling much greater effects from these things. The effects we're feeling in the current situation currently, and in sort of what's priced in, which is a relatively quick outcome. If this goes on for much longer and prices go much higher, then we'll feel that much more. And of course, I'm talking about aggregate inflation numbers. We're very well aware that people are experiencing higher gas prices all over the country now, and that hurts. And those hikes may continue to happen. And other things are going to start to reflect airline fares I mentioned, and other products and services that are dependent upon petroleum and derivatives of petroleum. People are going to start to feel that.
Edward.
Thank you, Chair Powell. Edward Lawrence with Fox Business. So I guess I'll just ask you directly on this. The markets don't see a rate cut at all this year, is what they're predicting. Do you think that we are at the neutral rate? Why or why not?
The neutral rate is we cannot know it with certainty. I think pretty close to the neutral rate. Yeah, I always had it between 3% and 4%. We're a little north of 3.5%, so that's well in the range of what I would consider a reasonable, but at the higher end of the range of what I would consider reasonable neutral rate. I think the labor market is still probably cooling off just a little bit, and I don't think there's much of a case for any case really for policy looking meaningfully restrictive, maybe mildly restrictive or neutral, I would say.
And I want to follow up on some of the other questions about your future a little bit. The first time we've seen 4 dissents now since October of 1992. Are you handing off a divided Fed?
The thing to remember is we have always had vigorous debates, and they're excellent debates. I have to say they've been really good, and we're in an unusually difficult situation. So we've really had 4 supply shocks. You can say more than 4, but at a minimum, we had the pandemic, we had the invasion of Ukraine, we had tariffs, and now we have Iran and the oil the oil spike. So every supply shock has the capability of driving inflation up and unemployment up. And what do? It's the central bank has a really hard time knowing what to do. So the right thing to do is to try to balance the achievement of those two goals, and that's what our framework calls for us to do. But these are really tough, difficult judgments. You've got to have a forecast for each variable. You've got to think how long it's going to take to get back to target. You got to think how restrictive or not is policy. So it's only natural that you have a range of views on the committee. People are going to see it different ways. They're going to have different risk tolerances and that kind of thing. I mean, if everybody agreed, that would be surprising. And I think it's partly a function of the extraordinarily challenging set of supply shocks that we've been dealing with now for 5-6 years.
Thank you so much, Chair Powell. Selena Wayne with ABC News. Are you confident that Kevin Warsh will stand up to political pressure from President Trump?
So he testified very strongly to that effect in his hearing, and I'll take him at his word.
And when it comes to gas, right now it's over $4 a gallon. Inflation just hit a 2-year high. Should Americans expect to be paying higher gas prices for the rest of this year? And in your view, does that take a rate cut off of the table? And secondly, by staying on as Fed governor, what message do you think you're sending to the president?
I don't know what gas prices are going to do for the rest of the year. And it will depend on how long the strait remains closed and how quickly it can be reopened and that kind of thing. But remember, when gas prices go up, that's disposable income coming out of people's pockets, so they're going to spend less on other things. So there will be a hit to GDP. So it's a question whether spending goes down to offset the inflationary effects. So it's not the answer isn't obvious ex ante whether you should move your rate over because of that. We'll have to see how it evolves.
And the message it sends to President Trump by staying on?
I'll stand on what I said earlier.
Victoria.
Hi, Victoria Guido with Politico. During your tenure, Fed independence has come under pressure in a lot of different ways. And I was just wondering, practically speaking, where do you see Fed independence as coming from? Is it the law? Is it political support from Congress? Is it the actions of the Fed? What sustains Fed independence?
Well, it's to a significant extent, it is the law. And, we've had to go to court to successfully so far to defend it. But the law does create a setting in which the Fed can and is directed to make monetary policy without consideration of political factors. And so part of it is the law. But it goes beyond that, though. There's a set of customs. There's a boundary line between the Fed and the administration, between the Fed and the Treasury Department. And we need to continue to respect those boundaries about what the Fed is responsible for and what the Treasury is responsible for and what the rest of the administration is responsible for. So some of it is legal. In fact, it's all legal at the end of the day, but it's more than just monetary policy. We don't want to use our tools we haven't wanted to use our tools to achieve goals that are really clearly outside our mandate. Every administration looks at our tools and thinks that would be good to repurpose those to serve other purposes, but that's dragging us into politics and into fiscal policy, so we've resisted that.
Well, and maybe another way of asking it, too, is do you think that Fed independence is as strong now as when you became chair, and if so, why?
Look, I think it's at risk. I mean, I think these legal assaults, if you will, as I mentioned, the institution is being battered over these things. We're having to resort to, the courts to enforce our legal, it's not so much independence. It's really the ability to make monetary policy without political considerations. That's what we're talking about, and we've had to do that, and we've been successful so far. But that's not over. None of that is concluded yet, and it's really important. It's not about people who work at the Fed or the institution. It's about the benefits of a central bank that makes decisions based on analysis and our best thinking. rather than, trying to help or hurt politicians. It's, that there's a bright line between central banks who do one and do the other, and successful countries have uniformly, successful advanced economy countries have a really strong set of protections around their central bank just for that reason. So that's what it's all about. I think I am confident, as I said in my remarks, that the Fed will continue to make its decision based on analysis, rigorous analysis, and not on political considerations. But we've had to fight for it, and I'd like to think that I'd like to think we can get out of that era and go back to respecting, what the law says and what custom has been, which is to, let the Fed do our thing. It's an institution full of human beings who work super hard to get things right for the benefit of the public. We're all human. Don't expect perfection, but do expect us to make, decisions without political considerations and the very best analysis we can bring.
Katerina Saraiva, Bloomberg News. How would you characterize what you've heard from your colleagues on your decision to stay? Do you have their support? And then have you heard concern from your colleagues about continued legal attacks from the executive branch? Is this something that others have, talked to you about?
So I think that I don't want to report on what my colleagues think. They can speak for themselves, but there are widespread concerns that these things may continue. That's all I'll say, and and that would be a problem. And so.
And then I just also wanted to ask about Governor Waller's speech on the reserve banks. Do you have any thoughts on centralizing some of those functions in the way he described? And then are you concerned that something like that could potentially be a slippery slope to, to consolidate reserve bank functions even more in such a way where the central bank ultimately loses some of that important regional information?
So we try to be good stewards of the public's money and efficient, and Chris Waller is particularly passionate about that. Of course, so are the reserves, so are the presidents, and it's a question of how do you accomplish it. We of course, and Chris said this in his speech, we want 12 strong independent central banks with their own staffs and their own monetary policy views and all that. But there are things that are done in all 12 which could well be done at one much more efficiently and with cost savings. And so there's a back and forth going on that, but everybody's on the same page. The other thing he touched on was the idea of removing reserve bank presidents from office over different views on monetary policy. And I would just agree with him so strongly that would be the beginning of the end of the Fed's ability to make monetary policy independently. If every administration could come in and do that, you're just another cabinet agency at that point. So that's not something that I would support. Chris said the same thing.
Christine.
Thanks, Chair Powell. Christine Romans, NBC News. I want to ask about legacy. When the history books are written, how do you think your stewardship at the Fed will be remembered for the past 8 years?
I'm going to just say that that's for someone else to say. I'll give you a mulligan on that.
All right. I'm going to ask you about misbehaving inflation then. You talked about those 4 big shocks, supply shocks over the past 5 years, and inflation still misbehaving. What's your message to American families who feel like inflation has not been under control for them really since the COVID reopening?
We're committed to bring inflation back down to 2% and sustainably. That's our goal, and we'll stick at it until that happens. We keep getting these events keep happening, which keep driving up costs, and the best thing we can do is to use our tools to guide inflation back down to 2%. I think trying to get there really quickly could be very costly in terms of job loss and things like that, but we try to get there over time in a way that does the least damage possible, and our commitment to that is never ending and unshakable.
How would you describe the economy outside of the misbehaving inflation? I mean, it's still awfully resilient given all of the blows.
I don't know that you can be awfully resilient. So it's actually quite resilient, I would say, because it's a positive thing. If I can have that amendment, yeah, growth is really solid across our economy. Some of that is that consumer spending is hanging in pretty well. The most recent data are good. And some of it is just the apparently insatiable demand for data centers all over the United States. So a lot of business investment going into building data centers, and every reason to think that that continues. So you've got an economy that's growing at 2% or better. PDFP, which is private domestic final purchases, which is really a better signal of a momentum in the economy, is actually higher than that. So that's a positive thing. If you look at the unemployment rate, it's 4.3%. So that's a low rate. That's pretty close to mainstream estimates of the natural rate. We've been there for a long time. So it doesn't feel like a good labor market to some who don't have jobs, because quits are really low, hires are really low, and there's effectively no new net job creation. So that's in a sense, the labor market is in balance. But it's an unusual and uncomfortable kind of a balance where people who don't have jobs will have a hard time breaking in unless somebody quits their job. So that's pretty good. Inflation is the thing we need to work on, and it's partly tariffs, which we think that inflation should subside over the course of this year, because it's kind of a one-time increase. It shouldn't be repeated, and that should start happening pretty soon. The energy inflation that we're getting should go through fairly quickly. And we'll just have to see how that works out. In the meantime, we think our policy stance is in a good place for us to hold and wait developments.
Jennifer.
Thank you, Chair Powell. Jennifer Schonberger with Yahoo Finance. At the risk of beating the dead horse here, clearly 3 members objected to keeping that easing bias in the statement. And you said that the majority still didn't need to move to new language at this point. So does the majority of the committee still have a bias towards cuts at this point, or has the bias on the committee shifted away from cuts towards holding or hikes if that was needed?
So I think that, the center is moving toward a more neutral place, and that's sort of what markets are saying too. I just think, there's a lot of signaling going on when you change guidance like that. And so we just, I guess a majority of us didn't feel like we needed to send a signal on that right now. But maybe it'll come to that. And the reason is because, we're kind of waiting to see what happens with events in the Middle East and what are the implications of those events for the U.S. economy. So there's a group who feels like we don't need to be in a hurry to do that. We get it. And of course, we will move to a hiking bias if we want to hike, and we'll move to a neutral bias before that. But there was a difference over whether to do it at this meeting, at a meeting at which all but one of us agreed that the rate decision was correct, which was not to move.
And you just said moments ago that you believe Fed independence is at risk. Is it safe to say that you want to stay on as a governor to serve as a check and balance on that?
I want to stay until I will stay until I feel it's appropriate for me to leave. And yes, that is really what is driving this. I'm not looking to be, a high-profile dissident or anything like that. I'm more looking at the other aspects of this and wanting to see that things have calmed down and we're returning to a traditional model of working with the people that you have and bringing them to consensus and respecting that consensus. That's what I'm hoping to see.
Matt Egan.
Thanks, Chair Powell. Matt Egan with CNN. You've made many tough decisions in your time at the Fed, and as your time as chair comes to a close and you think about your tenure and perhaps your legacy, are there any decisions that stand out as ones that you're particularly proud of? And are there any that, with the benefit of hindsight, you would take a mulligan on?
Yeah, it's hard. I wouldn't want to single out individual things at this point. I'll just say, we, all of us together, have consistently tried to do what we think is best for the American people based on our tools and our objectives that Congress has given us. it's been very challenging because we've been in a situation of supply shocks really for 6 years. And that's just a very different situation than for a very long time. What the Fed and other central banks were doing all the time was demand management. And, and there was always the inflation mandate, but inflation was low for 25 years. So this is a very different world and a much more challenging one where you have to balance the two objectives. And by the way, central banks that have an inflation mandate have to do exactly the same thing because they're balancing economic activity. So that's been challenging, and we've tried to do our very best through these really challenging times, and I'm really proud of the work that I've done, that my colleagues and I have done during these years.
Now, to follow up on some of the discussion around Fed independence, can you explain to the public why this notion of Fed independence, which might sound kind of wonky to some, is so critical? I mean, what are the consequences if either the Supreme Court rules against Lisa Cook or the Fed in the future decides to make decisions more around the political calendar instead of the economic data?
So every major advanced economy in the world has made the same decision the United States has made, and that is that they want to take the making of monetary policy, the setting of interest rates to support the economy, to achieve maximum employment and price stability. They want to take that out of the direct control of elected politicians. And the reason is elected politicians are always running for election, and they'll always want low rates, and that will lead to inflation over time. So after literally centuries of experience with that, the whole world moved to the different model, and it's worked great. I mean, this is the era in which inflation was under control for 40 years. Then we had the pandemic inflation everywhere in the world, and now we have inflation that had gone pretty much all the way back to target, really close to all the way back to target, and now is being buffeted by the energy shock, and the U.S. buffeted by the tariff shock as well. So, but what I would say to the general public is that's the backstory, is that don't think about an institution being independent. Think about it this way, that you want people to make monetary policy and set interest rates to benefit the general public and to try to achieve economic goals, which are maximum employment and price stability, and focus only on that and ignore political considerations, completely ignore them. This isn't bipartisan, this is nonpartisan. So we want to just work directly for the American people doing these things. We don't think, oh, I want to do this because the president says it's a good idea, or because there's an election coming up and I want to speed up or slow down the economy. I mean, think about that. If that's what we were doing, we'd have no credibility. Markets would lose faith in us, and our ability to control inflation and have any respect would be gone. And let me say, whatever people say, the markets believe that we will produce 2% inflation. If you look at longer run expectations, markets believe that there's no sense in which our credibility in the markets has weakened. It's just not the case. It's people do get it, that this is our commitment and that we will achieve it, and it's priced in. If you disagree with that, then you can go ahead and bet against the markets, but the markets are pricing in Fed credibility.
Okay, we'll go to Richard for the last question.
Thank you, Chair Powell. Richard Escobedo with CBS News. We've talked a lot about gasoline prices and even you mentioned airline ticket prices, both of which are up dramatically because of the war in Iran. And so I wonder, are you seeing that weigh down consumer spending in other parts of the economy? And if so, how worried are you that that will be a drag on growth?
You don't see it in spending yet. You really don't. I mean, as one of your colleagues said, the economy has been resilient. It really has. Not just this time, but it's been remarkably resilient for some years now. The U.S. economy has just powered through shock after shock, and consumers are still spending, and that's what the banks will tell you, credit card companies will tell you, the retail sales numbers that we got most recently. People are still spending, and how long can that go on in a world where if gas prices were to go up a bunch more, that's taking otherwise spendable money out of people's pockets. But right now, we don't actually see much slowdown yet, and certainly none from this. But you think logically you will, because people have a certain amount of money to spend. If they're spending 25% more on gas or something like that, then that's going to come out of other spending. But we don't see it yet.
One last thing. You mentioned those economies in Southeast Asia that are particularly dependent on petroleum. They make a lot of the stuff that American consumers buy. So was there any discussion today about whether or not those costs getting passed along to consumers is a real concern, and whether or not that might push up inflation?
So all of those things are in the models that we use to calculate inflation. So they're just parts. You can ask about anything like that, and they have a place. The staff has a place where they're looking at that and pricing in what will happen with higher prices and that kind of thing. So it's there. The effects are not that big yet. We're a huge economy. The import sector is only 10% of the economy, so we're not like a European country where 50% of the external of GDP is in the external sector. We're also, as I mentioned, we're an oil exporter, so we're not feeling the same kind of pain, and we're not likely to feel the same kind of pain that economies in Western Europe and certainly in Asia are feeling. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. I won't see you next time.
Aww. So sad. So sad. Jerome Powell. Jerome. I'll miss you, Jerome. I'll miss you, Jerome. I'll miss you, Jerome. I'll miss you. You'll always be inside my heart forever. Jerome, Jerome. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Man. So sad. Well, sweet Jerome. Man, that's so sad, It's the end of an era, guys. It's the end of an era. How many FOMCs have we had, How many FOMCs? Man. How many FOMCs? Now sit back, cause I'm the best crypto MC. JP, Mr. Wait and See. He's gone forever, makes me glee, makes me sad. I gotta cry, like I'm so fly. Jay Casper on a treadmill, I'm a white guy. We snipe the bottom, then we TP right at the top. Sit back, listen to me. Hey, we made the profits today. We come to the treadmill just to get paid. We stay hungry, we be eating from the trades. Every day in the garden digging with the spade. I give it to you serious, I never play. It's just another day, another trade. I give it to you straight, I never give it gay. That's why everybody in the house say, hey, Jay Casper traded in the house, and we're trading Bitcoin for the Bitcoin bounce, baby. Oh snap, let me take a peek. This market cipher B have any uneven butt cheeks? Yes we do. Big on the left, so dang juicy, and skinny on the right just to round out the booty. And I don't even know if you can spot it, but we bounced from the golden pocket. Not the golden pocket, but her cousin 786. The Bitcoin price is back to her old tricks. She's looking super hungry, she's licking her lips. The next thing you know, she starts to flick the price to the upside. Let it ride like a water slide. Jason Casper coming in, he likes to glide. Taking profits every day, we stay fly. Making all the money, no matter how hard I try. Here we go, tippy toppy. Bitcoin price, we about to rock it. We're out here collecting rings, just like Sonic. And we fighting bad guys like Sonic vs. Robotnik. Coming up, tippy topping to the golden pocket. Market makers try to drop it, but we stop it, cause we are the market makers. We're in control. We got the takers, the makers and the takers got the lowest fees. On KCEX and ANTARCTIC, listen to me. Jason Casper taking trades whenever he please. Don't you know I love to eat bread and some cheese? Only eat sourdough bread. Yeah. Only sourdough bread, baby. We don't want none of that gluten. The gluten. Yeah, we only eat sourdough, no gluten. Jason Casper loves his carbs from fruit, and you gotta eat all the nice vegetables. The Bitcoin price acting like we're in control. Taking longs, taking shorts, going through the front door. Wearing pants, wearing shorts. Next thing we ask for more. like a dance when we're looking to get hort, cause you shorted the bottom and don't you know you gotta snort like a pig in the mud. Kinda muddy, just like transline carbon, binary emission, gender studies. Back in college, don't you know I majored in this, and people didn't know what bathroom I would piss in. The girls or the boys. But if you're feeling bullish, baby, make some noise. Bitcoin about to startle. Don't you know we buy and we hodl. Hodl buy, hodl, hodl buy. Don't be scared, just hodl, hodl buy. Hodl buy, hodl, hodl buy. Don't try, just hodl, hodl buy. Oh my goodness. Wowzers. Well, what a pretty cool FOMC that was, guys. So here's what I think about the Bitcoin price action. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. First of all, the long trade taken live, man. Was that not an epic knife catch snipe or what? That was an epic knife catch snipe. All right. We hit our take profit. Literally, guys, did you see my take profit get hit? And literally we dumped 75,500 TP1, baby. That is wild. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close this baby out here. Lock in my 1,300 bucks. All right. I'm going to keep the position open over here. On this account, I really want to hold this level, guys. If we don't hold the level, it's not looking good. Maybe we get a bounce from the golden pocket. First of all, here's the deal. All right. Here's the deal. First of all, yes, this is bullish. In 5 minutes, we get a confirmed very bullish div on the 24-minute, all right? Let me show you guys a few things. Oh, wait, this is ES. This isn't Bitcoin. You know what? I'm an idiot. I'm such an idiot. I thought that was Bitcoin. No different, though. In 4 minutes, Bitcoin's going to confirm a 24-minute bullish divergence anyway. But here's the deal, all right? That's so funny. I was on ES. I thought it was on Bitcoin. See, this isn't financial advice. Guys, this is our last support that we have until 73K, all right? We zoom out. We see that ever since we broke out of the important resistance at $73,000, we've pulled the volume profile from the breakout, all right? We pulled the volume profile from the breakout. We're coming down to value area low and 786, all right? If we don't hold here, we're coming back down toward this massive support zone, $72,000, $73,000. That is the last hope for the Bitcoin bulls. If we lose it, well, we could very easily come way back down into the range. We could see 60K or lower. Honestly, I'm not trying to be scary or beary, but that's just the reality of the situation. After a breakout like this, if we come back in and we don't get a bullish retest, that is really not good. All right, that is really not good. Now we zoom out, we go to the 4 hour. Again, I just want to show you guys the importance of this. Man, I'm having some mouse issues, man. The mouse. Here we go. The importance of this, guys, is, again, we're either going to get the back test of this. All right, this is super important. Uh-oh. Oh, my goodness. We're either going to get the back test of this here. Look how, literally, look at how important this is. It's the back test of everything. Not only the value area high, but also the trend line, or we come back inside, and if we do, this is probably a fake out, because when we go to the daily time frame, we do have some confirmed bear divs. The 12-hour confirmed bear divs. The 4-hour confirmed bear divs, money flow curving down. See how important this area is, guys? Such a big, important make it or break it zone. If we hold here, we could confirm a 4-hour bullish div, which could pump us back up towards 80,000. Honestly, my hope right now is that this does hold and I wake up tomorrow and we're in profits up here. That's kind of what I hope, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, Wednesdays often are the weekly highs and lows. So let us see what Asia does when Asia opens. Asia. Good old Asia. Like my wired earbuds. Get a wired mouse? Yeah, I can't. I have a laptop. Why are not all the comments showing? You have top on, all right? There's two options in YouTube. They've changed it quite a long time ago. Most people don't know this. There's top chat and there's live chat, all right? Top chat only shows the ones who the YouTube algorithm deems good. So if you're not showing up, it means YouTube thinks you don't chat enough, all right? You got to go to live chat to see everybody, all right? Live chat to see everybody. Top chat only shows some peeps, Only some peeps. Looks like we're trying to roll over just like my views on this dang stream. You know, just like my views on the dang stream are rolling over, but hopefully, oh man, not good. Not good, not good, not good, not good. I really want to hold this level. Looks like not good, not good, not good. Not good, not good, not good. Not good, not good. Working out in the morning fasted is burning visceral fat 20% more. Can you believe it? Well, I'll tell you, I don't know, because I hear different things, right? I hear different things. I will tell you this. I will tell you this anecdotally. If you are doing heavy workouts in the morning, fasted, and then immediately going for a walk for about an hour, I don't know if it does anything to your body that's good or bad, but I do know this. It's way easier to stay lean that way. Way easier. Way easier. If you can get a heavy workout in 10,000 steps before you eat for the day, whether or not it burns more visceral fat or whatever. And there's something about doing that as well that makes you feel good for the rest of the day. If I wake up and I eat breakfast, I'm tired and hungry all day. If I wake up and I lift heavy and I go for an hour walk, I feel great for the rest of the day. I have like unlimited energy. It just does something to you. It like jump starts the system. And I truly do believe that if you accustom your body to going through hard physical tasks while fasted without the glucose fresh in your system, I feel like it definitely burns more fat. Because what else do you have to run off of? You don't have any fresh blood sugar. Everything's coming from your stores, whether it be glycogen or body fat. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what's true with the science, but I'll tell you, I love working out fasted. I hate working out fed. I don't know how people they're like, I need a few meals in me before I lift weights. I'm not like that. I'm always stronger fasted. I might feel a little bit better if I'm fed. Like I might feel stronger, but I'm not. I don't know if that makes any sense. You get more pumped up when you're fed, but you might not be stronger. All right. Yeah, look, that's what James does. And look at his picture. All right. Dude is absolutely peeled. Dice to the. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, he does that. Look, if you want to look like James, all right, 5% body fat, jacked, all you got to do is train fasted. All right. And do your fasted cardio. Train fasted and do your fasted cardio. You know? So I hold my position. Well, I just made $1,000 on my trade, $1,300 already locked in. Yeah, I'm just gonna hold this one now. I have a short that's up 12 grand. I have literally nothing to lose here. If it comes down, I'll close it out if we make a lower low, and I'll take a couple $100 loss. No big deal. It's not even gonna eat into my profit. You know, I closed that other long trade on KCEX for like a $1,300 profit. Yeah, there you go. The cortisol. Well, you know what? Cortisol's not even bad. I'll be honest with you. People are scared of cortisol, and I understand it. But here's the thing. If you have balance in your life, I feel like it doesn't matter. All right? What really matters to me is nutrition and sleep. And then, yeah, push yourself like crazy. Cortisol is a tool. Cortisol is a tool to be used. As long as it's not out of balance, it's okay. It's okay as long as it's not out of balance. All right? As long as you don't have problems sleeping, as long as you wake up every morning with a stiffy, as long as you feel good and you feel happy, then it's okay. If you have trouble sleeping, you wake up without a stiffy, and you feel depressed and tired and lethargic, then it's too much cortisol. All right? You got to find the balance. But for me, I like to go extreme. I like to work hard and I like to rest hard. I like to work hard, I like to rest hard and maintain a balance. You got to maintain a balance. Is there a quest today? Yeah, let's give some eggs in the Discord here, guys. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it, baby. Yeah, people demonize cortisol, and rightfully so, because it can wreck your life. For sure, if it's out of balance. But if you have a good balance, take advantage of that dang cortisol. Take advantage of it. Use it to your advantage. You know, low cortisol makes me think of a dad bod, honestly. You don't have any drive. You don't have any fire under your butt to smack yourself in the face and say, be a dang man. You know, I've been through both phases of too much cortisol and not enough, honestly. You got to find that balance and use everything to your advantage. The code for eggs today, guys, is going to be JP. All right, JP. The egg code in the Discord is JP. And if you're not a man, then yeah, you don't want to be waking up with a stiffy. But I'm talking to all my dudes out here. All right? So Sudeep says if she woke up with a stiffy, there might be a problem. That's true. I don't know what signs females look for to make sure their hormones are balanced. But if you're a male, you want to wake up with that, you know, the morning wood. Exactly. Exactly. Is it healthy to spike your cortisol early in the morning? I don't know, but I do it. I do it. I love to do it. Like, I wake up in the morning after I pray and drink half a gallon of water. I chug some coffee and I get right to the physical movement. And it's good. I like it. Hill sprints, bike sprints, heavy lifting, walking, all that stuff. You know? Yeah, but keep in mind too, the thing is, I do think it's balanced because I sleep a lot. I sleep a lot. I sleep as much as I want to. I don't have an alarm clock. I have a good nighttime routine. I sleep through the night. You know, all this kind of stuff. I feel recovered. I feel recovered. Like, that's the thing. You got to go based on how you feel. You know? No, not JP like that, R-Pink. JP like this. All right, JP like this. Cortisol spike in the morning seems to be good for sleep later, says Splash. Yeah, I don't know. I just know what I like to do. Everyone's different. But for me, I need, maybe I am a cortisol junkie. Maybe I'm a cortisol junkie, but I need that push in the morning. Like, I need that forced, you know, this is gonna suck, but I'm gonna force myself to do it. And once I force myself to, like this morning, man, woke up and I woke up late and I was in a rush to get all my morning things done, right? But I made sure I hit some heavy weights, got a quick workout in, didn't want to do it, but I did some heavy Smith machine Bulgarian split squats. Heavy. To the point where literally to failure on each leg till I couldn't move my leg up at all. And I'm so glad I did, because if I didn't, I would have felt like garbage all day. You know? Yeah, JP is the code word. JP, the 2 letters. JP. I'll put it in the chat again. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Shout out to R-Pink. Shout out to Josh. JP, just the 2 letters. Letter J, letter P. 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 I'll put it in the chat one more time for y'all. Let's take another poll, because I want to know what you guys think. If we pump or dump. All right. Let's see here. It's 50-50 whether we see 70K or 80. So let's start another poll. Pump or dump from here. see what this poll is. Pee in the tree. I did pee in the tree. I couldn't take you guys with me because it's pouring rain outside. You know? VIP discount? Well, it is pretty discounted. It's $65 a month. That's a little bit more than $2 a day. We might have a Black Friday sale in November for the first month, like 50% off. But other than that, I can't really discount it anymore. All right, I need to charge that much in order to sustain the business. Price action is molasses. It really is right now. It's crazy. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Crypto Clown World pressing and heavy lifting has been pressing the landscaping rocks in front of your house. That's cool. Thoughts on raw honey? I love raw honey. I mean, I love raw honey. I actually haven't had raw honey in quite some time. But I'm a big fan of raw honey. A huge fan of just a big old scoop of honey. There's nothing like some honey when you're feeling drained and tired. A little bit of honey. It's a whole food, they say. You're hoping for a little pump and then lower. So Barry Frederick says it's good to exercise on an empty stomach. That's cool. Four-hour CTW below 73.7, then pump with 4-hour bull dip would be nice. 73.7. That would be nice, man. I mean, that's the value area high of the range. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. That would be very nice. That's a major level that I'm also looking at right there. Honey packets? No, not the honey packets. It needs to be raw honey. It needs to be raw honey. Oh man, honeycomb is amazing, James. Just the only thing about raw honeycomb is the wax gets stuck in your teeth, but it tastes great. And if you suck all the honey out and just keep the wax, you gotta spit out the wax. Or I guess you could eat the wax. I don't really eat the wax when it comes to the honeycomb. Honeycomb, honey brush, bowl full of mush. Let's see. Man, what a good FOMC. This was a good FOMC. I have 4,000 Bitcoin orders at $15. I hope, for your sake, man, that would be amazing. That would be so insane if that actually happened and played out. And then we pump back up. Even if we just pump up to 1,000, man. I mean, we pump up to 10K, man. Can you imagine that? Pump up to 20K. Can you imagine that? Sheesh. All right, what were we looking at? We're going to look at something, right? We're going to look at something? Are we long in this or what? I mean, I'm long. AMS took the long trade live from the exact bottom, caught the dang knife, man. That was epic. That was epic, you know? I have to say, that was pretty epic. That was pretty epic. I want to watch it. Let's see. Yeah, the guy at the conference. Oh my goodness. I want to watch that. No, it's turning back to purple. Let's see. I want to watch it. Oh my goodness. Holy macaroni and cheese. Quadruple cheese. Quadruple cheese. Mis amigos, quadruple cheese. Yeah, where did we get long? Right here. Crazy. Yeah, right here. Let's see what happens. Look at that. Oh my. Just taking a long dong ding dong. Oh my, look at that. Look at crazy. Jason Casper, what a fool. What an idiot. What an epic. What an epic catch. Oh my goodness. What an epic catch. Oh man. Come on, we got the blue candle of hope, baby. Oh, come on. Oh no, it's turning back to purple. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Come on, baby. What's going on? Ah. That was fun. That was fun. Honey packets give you a stiffy? I don't think so, but raw honey might, honestly. Raw honey might. Epic until you stop out. Oh, I didn't get stopped out. That's what made it so epic. That's what made it so epic. There was no stop out. You know? It's one of those things. When you come down to the 786 like that with some bullish divergence, you gotta go for it. You gotta go for it. And then, not only did I catch the bottom, but I took profit right here. Literally at the top. I literally longed the bottom, shorted the top. That is crazy, you know? Where did I take profits? Let's see. Right here. I hit that TP1 on from a different trading account.
Than those of Western Europe or Asia, who are feeling much greater effects from these things. Our effects we're feeling
Look at that. Look at that. My TP1. Boom, baby. And that was literally the top. You can't fake that stuff, man. That's funny. That is funny. Me and Bitcoin, man, we got this special thing going on. We got this special relationship. We got a special relationship, me and Bitcoin. We have a special relationship. You know? Mr. T says not a bullish divergence. All right, my bad, bro. Then it's not a bullish divergence. Okay. Then whatever it is, it's a signal. All right. Whatever it is, it's a signal. Okay. All right. Whatever it is. Remember, I'm an idiot. I literally don't know what stuff is called. I don't know, and I don't care. I don't know, and I don't care. I'll tell you one thing that I don't like about the trading community is when people get so wrapped up about what things are called, and they suck at trading anyway. You know? They're like, that's not the head and shoulders. That's not this. That's not that. All right, fine. Whatever. Who cares what it's called, man? Does it make you money? If yes, then great. You know, people hold themselves back in life because they worry too much about the wrong stuff. Instead of worried about what stuff is called, worry about if it works. You know? Like, seriously. That's the truth right there. That's the truth right there. That's the truth right there. Where did I pull the guns from to get TP1? I just want to front run the 0.5 Fibonacci. And 75.5 is a nice round number. Let's see if we make another high here. Let's see if we make another high here. Yeah, it's true. When we bounce from value area low, we go to value area high. So let's see. Let's see if we can't come all the way back up to value area high. You know, we got a ways to go. Value area high coming in at 78.4 here. Let's see. It's pretty ambiguous. We do have bullish divergences. I mean, I think they're called bullish divergences. I don't know. Apparently, other people know much better than me. Whatever they're called, we have them, all right? Whatever they're called, we got them. All right? Whatever they're called, we got them. It reminds me back in the day when I wanted to be a musician. All right? I wanted to be in a band, be a musician. And my friends, instead of trying to be in a band and trying to make it as a musician, they decided, I want to go to school for music. I want to go to college to learn music so then I can be in a band. All right, they went to college and got in debt. Guess what? I went out and I joined a dang band and started touring and doing that full time. And they were still in college learning how to do it the right way. Learning from other people who know the industry. What a waste. What a dang waste. You know? Seriously, what a dang waste. Those people never did it. They never did it. They went to school. Some of them dropped out. Some of them got their degree. Never actually did music. You know? They went to college. They learned. They sure learned the right thing to do. Honestly, the next resistance is probably going to be the support resistance flip at 75,666 on AX. If we reclaim 75,666, that's our first real sign of strength from this bounce here. You know? We got to do this, hold that. If we do this and hold that, guys, we're looking good. You know? Then we can get a true introverted head and shoulders. A true introverted HNS. Trading is making your beard turn gray. Well, what about, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. Isn't that genetic? Is that genetic? Or maybe, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I mean, how old are you? I mean, right? It just happens, right? I'm scared for when my beard turns gray. First, I need to be able to grow a full beard. You can't even grow a full beard. I hope it doesn't turn gray when I still just have like a 12-year-old Amish kid thing going on. That would be lame. That would be lame. Might be a good idea to go to uni if you want to be a surgeon. Man, that reminds me of my friends back at school. They wanted to be surgeons. They went to school. Meanwhile, I just started cutting people open. They were going to college, getting into debt. I was actually out there being a surgeon. No, they never ended up doing it. They were too squeamish. They dropped out of school. Now they're in debt. Meanwhile, Jay Casper went to Walmart, got the most expensive knife block possible. Came with a sharpener too. I'm not against college. I'm just saying in general, for the whole music thing, if your goal is to be a full-time musician and you want to make that your career, why would you waste time and money going to college to learn about music when you could just go out there and start playing music and trying to start a band and get it, you know, it's counterintuitive. People focus on the minors. They major on the minors. People major on the minors. Let's see. Look, we did hold this level. This is actually a really nice looking bounce right here. It's a nice looking bounce. It's a nice looking bounce. I like it. Let's see if we can continue to make higher highs and higher lows. It's not rocket surgery. Exactly. It's not rocket surgery. It ain't no rocket surgery. Cutting open them dang rockets, you know? Oh, man. Oh, man. Man, these longs have not been fun, though. Let's be honest. The long from yesterday in the Casper crew. You guys remember this one? We took this long yesterday in the Casper crew. What the heck? This one was painful, just as painful as this one. We took this long yesterday at 10:17 a.m. It took forever. It took forever, but it ended up, this was the trade. This was the trade. These three. these four here. So it played out all right. It played out all right throughout the night. It played out all right throughout the night. And then we dumped this morning. I told everyone to take some dang profit here. I thought actually that we would get a higher low and bounce, but we didn't. We didn't. So I did add to the trade and it got stopped out in profit. But now we're pumping. Let's see if this one plays out, man. You know, in the Casper crew. Give the trades, tell people when I'm taking it, tell when I'm taking profit, tell them when I'm longing, all this stuff, give my limit orders, all that stuff. JasonCasperTrading.com. Also, guys, make sure to trade on Antarctic if you like low fees on a DEX that operates like a centralized exchange. Beautiful mobile app. All right, KCEX, lowest fees. BLOFIN and YUBIT. And also, if you want to become a funded trader, Klein Funding, official partner. Klein Funding, 15% discount on these funded accounts, as well as Bitfunded, crypto Propfirm. All right, all that stuff. The official sponsors of the channel. Well, we're so far holding the level that we wanted to hold. It was that 15-minute order fair value gap or whatever it's called. I don't know what anything's called. Didn't go to college. All right, shout out to Distance Music who's going to bed. God bless. God bless. God bless. It's going to be a wild ride soon. The alert just went off. What alert? The short alert or the long alert? Short alert or the long alert? Is today Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. May the Lord bless you all in Jesus' name. God bless you all. God bless you all. I appreciate all of you for being here. Honestly, it means a lot. It really does mean a lot that you guys watch my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, guys. All 998 of you. And all 669 who liked it. And all 8 who disliked. I love all of you. I do pray that God bless you and your families in many ways. You know, it's been a good day. It's been a good day. It's been a good FOMC. It's been some slow price action. Hasn't been as volatile as we wanted, but maybe over the night we'll get some more volatility. You know, maybe over the night we'll get some more volatility. But yeah, I'm going to head out, guys. God bless you all, and I'll see you later. Peace.